Welcome to another exciting episode of Gibbon Travelogue. I'm Lilian.
And I'm Gilbert.
And today we're in Luoyang, and our very first stop will be Longmen Grottoes.
Yes, Longmen Grotto is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It consists of more than 100,000 Buddha statues being carved off the cliff facing the Yi River, which is just next to us. Okay, it's going to be a very exciting day.
And a very wet day.
Yeah, very wet day. Shall we start our exploration?
Alright.
Okay, which way?
Let's go.
This way? Luoyang isn't just any old city. It is one of China's four great ancient capitals, along with Beijing, Xi'an and Nanjing. This is one of the birthplaces of Chinese civilization, where the Xia, Shang, Eastern Zhou, Eastern Han, Cao Wei, Sui and Tang dynasties all built their capitals here. For over 1,500 years, emperors, generals, poets and monks walked the same streets we are walking today. In our last video, we explored Zhou, visited the immersive show complex Unique Henan Land of Dramas, marveled the city god temple, and roamed the streets of the Eqi Memorial Tower. Today, we dive into Luoyang and highlight 5 unmissable experiences. Our journey started 2 weeks earlier, when China's high-speed train seats finally opened for booking. Tickets cannot be booked before this window. We booked our train on the Trip.com app from Zhou East to Luoyang Longmen Railway Station, Luoyang Longmen Zan. A key reminder, Luoyang Longmen is the only station in Luoyang that handles high-speed trains. Do not select Luoyang Station, which only handles slow trains. The trip takes just 45 minutes, so we picked first-class seats for about $20 per person. And yes, our day didn't go perfectly, but that's part of the adventure. Autumn weather in Henan is famously unpredictable. Hey, morning! We are going to Longmen Grotto. Unfortunately, it's raining, so not to worry, we have contingency. If we really cannot go, then we either go to Kaifeng or we will just stay in Zhou. So despite the downpour, we stick to our plan. But because of traffic jam, we arrived late and missed our train. Thankfully, China's railway staff are extremely efficient. We managed to get seats on the next train at a manned ticketing counter. Crisis avoided. 谢谢。
Welcome on board. We are here to make your journey a pleasant one. Our entire crew welcomes you on board our train and hopes you will enjoy the journey.
女士们、先生们，
Nice view.
为了进一步提升您在旅途中的服务体验，本次列车推出了
Okay, we are now at Longmen Grottoes. Just arrived here via Didi. The journey is around 15 minutes away only. Still raining, no choice, so I got to buy myself a raincoat for 15 renminbi. The Longmen Grottoes is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the 3 largest ancient Buddhist cave complexes in China, together with Dunhuang and Yungang. Are you kidding? The entrance fee is 90 renminbi per person, which includes access to the West Hill Grottoes, East Hill Grottoes, Shangshan Temple and Baiyuan Garden. As we walk in, we realize just how massive this site is, with more than 1,400 caves, 100,000 Buddha statues, and inscriptions carved over 1,500 years, beginning in the Northern Wei dynasty and flourishing during the Tang dynasty.
自海口的生育新女士，请注意。
Our first stop is the Qianxisi Cave, located at the northern end of West Hill. This is the first large-scale cave carved during the Tang dynasty under Emperor Cao Zhou. Inside, the central figure is Amitabha Buddha, towering at 7.8 meters. His face is round and serene, his posture composed. Seated cross-legged, a gesture of teaching. To his sides sit Guanlin and Da Shizhi, Pusa, forming the three saints of the West, icons of Pure Land Buddhism. Nearby stands the 10 characters stele, written by the Song-era Taoist philosopher Chen Duan. Its calligraphy considered a masterpiece of Taoist culture. Further south, we reach the impressive Moyan Sanfo, carved under the reign of Empress Wu Zetian. Unlike the enclosed caves, these three large Buddhas are carved directly on the cliff face. At the center is Mila Pusa, the Buddha of the future, symbolizing hope, renewal, and moral authority. The project was never fully completed when her reign ended, but even in its unfinished state, the scale and details are all inspiring. Next, we visit the Huijian Cave, built by the monk Huijian from Xi'an's Fahai Temple, dedicated to Emperor Cao Zhong and Empress Wu Zetian. The cave features a single chamber. On the main wall sits a large Mila Pusa, flanked by disciples and bodhisattvas. Interestingly, the main Buddha and disciple Ananda resemble the famous statues in the Fengxiansi Cave, which is why this cave is often called the Little Fengxian. Entering the Lotus Cave, carved in the Northern Wei period, we immediately looked up because the entire ceiling is taken up by a giant lotus blossom. The lotus is considered one of the finest carvings in all of Longmen. The back wall displays a standing释迦牟尼Buddha, representing his travels to spread the Dharma. Sadly, many heads here were stolen in the early 20th century. Some are now in museums overseas. Still, even in its current state, this cave is breathtaking. Finally, we arrive at the Fengxiansi Cave, the most iconic site in Longmen. Commissioned by Emperor Cao Zhong and completed in 675 AD, this is the largest grotto in the entire complex. At its center stands the magnificent Sushena Buddha, Lu Shina Da Fo, 17.14 meters tall, with a calm, wise expression. Some believe Empress Wu Zetian's own features may have inspired this face. Surrounding Lu Shena are two disciples including Ananda, known for his perfect memory of Buddhist sutras, two bodhisattvas, elegant and graceful, two heavenly kings, powerful and dynamic, two guardians, muscle carved with precision. Together, the 9 statues create a breathtaking panorama of Tang Dynasty spiritual art at its height. This cave alone symbolizes the wealth, power, and artistic brilliance of the Tang Empire. After taking our time at the magnificent Fengxiansi Cave, we continue our journey by crossing the Man Sui Tiao, heading toward the eastern hill. The walk is gentle as we make our way down the slope. We arrive at a beautiful viewing platform, the Guanlin. From here, we get one of the best perspectives of the entire Fengxiansi complex. Standing opposite the Yi River, we can see the Buddhist figures carved into the cliff face and framed perfectly against the vast rock wall. It is a moment that really captures the scale and artistry of the Longmen Grottoes. We explore all of this in pretty heavy rain, which adds a misty, atmospheric feel to the cliffs and statues. Longmen is one of the greatest repositories of Chinese Buddhist art, a place where spirituality, history and art converge over 1,500 years. But since our time in Luoyang is short, we decide not to explore the smaller caves on the eastern hill. Instead, we hop onto one of the electric buggies that shuttle visitors around the scenic area. It is a quick ride to the exit, and from there, we move on to our next destination in Luoyang. From the grottos, we took a titi to Guanlin. Located in the southern part of Luoyang, Guanlin Temple is one of the most important cultural and historical landmarks in Henan province. It is dedicated to Guan Yu, the legendary general from the Three Kingdoms era, whose life and legacy have earned him titles such as the God of War, the Sage of Loyalty, and a symbol of justice and integrity throughout Chinese history. Guanlin is believed to be the burial site of Guan Yu's head, following his death at the hands of Dongwu in 219 AD. According to historical tradition, Guan Yu's head was sent to Cao Cao in Luoyang, who buried it with full honours. His body was buried separately in Dangyang, Hubei. Guanlin is the only burial site in China that bears the name Ling, a term traditionally reserved for imperial tombs, even though Guan Yu is not an emperor. This shows the extremely high respect emperors of later dynasty place on Guan Yu. The temple complex is expansive, covering an area of more than 20 hectares with a symmetrical layout typical of Ming and Qing dynasty architecture. A visit through Guanlin usually follows a straight ceremonial axis. The main gate is guarded by stone lions. It introduces the solemn atmosphere of the temple. As we enter, we see well-known stories of Guan Yu's life, such as crossing 5 passes and slaying 6 generals, 过五关, 斩六将, and swearing brotherhood in the Peach Garden, 桃园结义. These stories remind visitors why Guan Yu is adored not just as a historical hero, but also as a cultural and spiritual guardian. One of the most striking structures we encounter is the Tao Pavilion, Tao Ting, literally the Blade Pavilion. It is built to commemorate Guan Yu's legendary green dragon crescent blade, the weapon that has become inseparable from his image in Chinese history and folklore. The Spirit Way, Shen Dao, is lined with ancient cypress trees and stone animals, guardian beasts traditionally used in imperial tombs. As we continue deeper into the complex, we enter the main hall, the spiritual heart of Guanlin Temple. Inside, a grand statue of Guan Yu stands in full armour. The expression on his face is resolute and dignified, capturing the unwavering loyalty that made him a symbol of righteousness for almost 2,000 years. Behind the main structures lies the tomb pavilion, marking the sacred spot where Guan Yu's head is believed to be buried. A stone mound sits at the center, wrapped in offerings from visitors seeking protection, justice, and strength. Throughout the temple grounds, we find ancient stone steles, many inscribed by scholars, emperors, and officials across different dynasties. Some feature poems praising Guan Yu's virtues, others contain records of restorations, rituals, and imperial decrees. Being a fan of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, walking through the courtyards feel like stepping into the pages of the novel. One thing that really stands out when visiting Guanlin Temple is how blurred the line is between historical fact and the romanticized legend of Guan Yu. But many of the stories we associate with Guan Yu today, the heroic feats, the dramatic battles, and the larger-than-life personality, actually come from the 14th century novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Today, most people in China don't separate the two. Guan is revered not just as a historical figure, but also as a cultural icon, symbol of justice, and even a deity worshipped in temples across East and Southeast Asia. It is this blending of reality and legend that gives the temple its unique atmosphere. It is a must-visit for anyone coming to Luoyang. Next, we visit White Horse Temple, often regarded as the first Buddhist temple in China, founded in 68 AD by Emperor Ming of the Eastern Han Dynasty. The temple is located 12 kilometers east of Luoyang's city center. It has stood as a symbol of China's earliest contact with Buddhism and the beginning of Buddhist culture in East Asia. The story of White Horse Temple began when Emperor Ming dreamt of a golden deity flying across the palace, a vision believed to be the Buddha. Intrigued, the emperor sent envoys westward along the ancient Silk Road and later on returned from China accompanied by 2 Indian monks, bringing with them Buddhist scriptures and relics. For this reason, the temple is often called the first ancient temple under heaven, 天下第一故萨. White Horse Temple is built in traditional Han Chinese architectural style. The temple's layout follows a central axis, mirroring the design of imperial palaces, symbolizing Buddhism's elevated status in Han society. The first hall we enter is the Hall of the Heavenly Kings. At the center of the hall stands a magnificent wooden niche. Inside the niche sits Nila Pusa, the familiar laughing Buddha with a round belly and joyful smile. Behind Nila Pusa stands Wei Tuo, the powerful heavenly general guarding the temple and protecting it from evil influences. On both sides are the 4 heavenly kings, tall and commanding. These clay sculptures date back to the Qing dynasty, each one expressing a different aspect of their protective power. Next, we enter the reception hall, where the central figure is Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light. To his left stands Guanyin, the goddess of mercy, and to his right is Da Shizi, the Bodhisattva of wisdom and strength. The Mahavira Hall, Da Xiong Bao Tian, is one of the most impressive structures in the temple, originally reconstructed during the Yuan dynasty. At its center stands an extraordinary double-layer wooden Buddha shrine. Inside the shrine sits 3 principal Buddha, Sakyamuni in the center, the Medicine Buddha on the left, Amitabha, the Buddha of infinite light on the right. We then move to the final hall, the Bilu Hall, standing above the cooling terrace. This hall was rebuilt during the Ming dynasty and houses a beautiful wooden niche containing 3 sculptures. At the center is Vairocana Buddha, Bilu. On his left sits Manjushri, the Bodhisattva of wisdom, and on his right, the Bodhisattva of practice. The White Horse Temple is where Buddhism first flourished in China. It is truly a sacred and timeless place and is definitely one of the highlights of our trip to Luoyang. Our next stop is dinner at Zhen Bu Tong restaurant. This is one of the most iconic places to experience Luoyang's famed water banquet or Sui Si. The water banquet is a culinary tradition with over 1,000 years of history, dating all the way back to the Tang dynasty. The water banquet gets its name from 2 things. First, the dishes are served one after another like flowing water. And second, many of the dishes themselves feature rich broth, gravy and soup, giving the entire meal a smooth, almost ceremonial rhythm. Zhen Putong is one of the oldest and most respected restaurants serving this banquet today. Inside, the decor feels warm and traditional, almost like stepping into an old Luoyang dining hall. The staff are used to hosting both tourists and locals who come specifically to try this heritage feast. The water banquet consists of 24 dishes, 8 cold appetizers, followed by 16 hot dishes, each arriving course by course. Many recipes are drawn from the imperial kitchens and Buddhist vegetarian cuisine that flourished in Luoyang's temples. One of the most famous dishes is peony swallow dish, 牡丹燕菜, a beautiful white radish cut so delicately it unfolds like Luoyang's iconic peony flower. Of course, with just Lilian and I, we couldn't try all 24 dishes, but by the end of the banquet, we really feel like we are tasting history, something uniquely Luoyang. After dinner, we make our final stop for the evening, Luoyi, ancient town, Loyi古城. Stepping inside feels like walking into a vibrant recreation of ancient Luoyang, complete with traditional architecture, stone streets, lantern-lit alleys, and the lively atmosphere of a historical capital brought back to life. Luoyang has served as a capital for 13 dynasties, and Luoyi ancient town captures that legacy beautifully. Restored wooden buildings line the streets, each housing tea houses, craft shops, cultural studios, and small museums. At night, the entire town glows with warm lights, creating a scene that feels both historical and festive. One of the most iconic landmarks here is the massive illuminated sign, 金榜题名. This phrase translates to your name appears on the golden list. Another striking feature of the town is the Wenfeng Ta, a historic brick and stone tower rising in the heart of the precinct. With its 9-tiered structure, square base and tapering body, it is a classic example of ancient Chinese pagoda architecture. While much of Luoyi ancient town has been carefully reconstructed, the pagoda itself is a genuine heritage landmark, standing as a reminder of Luoyang's long history. As we wander further into the town, we hear traditional music, see performers dressed in historical costumes, and spot vendors selling handmade crafts, sugar figurines, peony-themed souvenirs, and local snacks. Some streets host performances inspired by life in ancient Luoyang. The deeper we walk, the more immersive the experience becomes. We can see bridges arching over small canals and red lanterns swaying in the wind. It is the perfect mix of culture, history, and entertainment, ideal for an evening stroll after a full day of sightseeing. Visiting Luoyi ancient town gives us a look at Luoyang's cultural spirit beyond temples and grottos. With its historic streets and vibrant performances, it is an excellent way to end our journey through this ancient capital. This is our full day exploring the heart of ancient China. From Buddhist caves carved by emperors to temples built for legendary heroes, to the birthplace of Buddhism in China and a 1,000-year-old banquet enjoyed by nobles. Luoyang is a city where history truly comes alive.
Okay, that's all, folks.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a like, leave a comment for us, and subscribe to
Gibbon Travelogue.
Until our next video,
We'll
we'll see you again. Bye bye. 再见.